Hi, I'm Dr. Tom Dawson, and if you're watching this video, hopefully that means that you've survived the first 2 weeks. So congratulations. That is really all I ask, is the 3 of you survive, and if you have, that was your job for the first 2 weeks. If in addition to that, your child has gained weight, or is within a couple of ounces of getting back to their birth weight, then that's even more good news, because that means 3 things. If your baby has gained weight, that means that you're making or buying enough milk. It means that your baby can take enough milk. And the third thing is it means your baby can turn milk into body parts, which means that they have about 1,000 biochemical problems that they don't have. So in general, if your child gained weight, that means that they're doing okay, and they're gonna do fine. So that means we have to change the way we look at things. Because to be honest, you've spent the first 2 weeks worrying about, is your baby going to be able to survive outside of you in the real world? And no one talks about it, but that's what we're all worried about. And now your child has, so we have to kind of change the things that we're concerned about. And the rules are going to change some too. So now we're worried about family survival. What kind of rules will help with that? Well, the first one is don't wake your child at night. Now, keep in mind, 95% of the children are not going to be sleeping through the night at 2 weeks, but I have about 2 a year that do. And if you get one of those 2, you just want to say a prayer of thanksgiving that you got one of those 2, and don't screw them up just because the internet tells you to. But most will be getting up 2 or 3 times during the night, and that's fine. I do not recommend trying to push them through the night until they're at least 4 months old. The second thing is, when we're talking about sleeping, is your child's going to be on the screwed up day and nighttime schedule for a while here. I explain it, and most people feel like it's a mystery, but to me, it's pretty clear. Your baby thinks they're Australian. And there may be a couple of reasons for that. One, the last few months, they've been upside down between you, and maybe it's because they're upside down, they think they're Australian. But I think the reason is because for the last few months, you've been walking around during the daytime with that baby inside you, sloshing back and forth between your hip bones, and your baby slept most of the day. And then around the time that you would lie down at night and get comfortable and want to go to sleep at night, they will start kicking on the Australian party time schedule. So for the last few months, they've been acting Australian, and they're going to continue to act Australian these first few weeks out, where they seem like they want to sleep all day and they're up all night. It's especially frustrating when you first get up in the morning, and that's when they want to go to sleep and sleep and sleep all morning. But what I want you to do then is we need to convince them that they're American. The way you convince a baby they're American is you make nighttime super boring. We might have a nightlight on so that when we change their diapers, we don't turn on a bunch of lights. If we talk to them at night, it's just in a monotone. And then we make daytime. They're going to sleep a bunch in the daytime still, but we make daytime's a little bit more exciting. We take walks, we take baths, we do fun stuff. And in about 3 weeks, they'll begin to realize they're American. So that's your job. Understand that they're Australian at first. Turn them into little Americans. And the next thing is, I like for their meals to be less than 30 minutes long. So I want you to, since they gain weight, we were worried the first couple of weeks, and now we don't have to worry about that as much. So we can push them a little bit. And let's push them to take their meals in less than 30 minutes. And, it'd be like if I had a bucket of ice cream in the hall, and if every time I went by I ate a spoonful, I'd be perfectly happy to do that. And your baby's happy to wake you up every 30 minutes or so to feed them a little bit more. But that's not what works best for the family, and they're a little too small to be in charge. So let's encourage them to finish their meals within 30 minutes. Now, the other concern some people have is, what if my baby's a little too fast? I have some moms that are breastfeeding, and they're part fire hydrant, and their baby is part Hoover or Dyson vacuum cleaner, and the whole breastfeeding, taking both breasts, can be finished in 8 minutes. And if you happen to have a fast eating baby, I consider that a good thing too. And there again, don't screw them up just because the internet encourages you to feed for an hour and a half at a time. So less than 30 minutes would be great. Too fast is almost never a problem. So the other thing I'd like for you to do is to take a half a day off a week. The reason for this is no 10 minutes is that bad when you're raising your child, but it is 10 minutes after 10 minutes after 10 minutes. And you start to think, oh my God, 27 more years is a long time. And if you think all I got to do is make it to Wednesday afternoon and someone else is in charge for 4 hours, it gives you hope. And you may not do fun stuff, particularly during that 4 hours, but someone else is in charge, and that helps a lot. I compare it to when I first started in practice. I love my job, but sometimes it didn't go away in the daytime. Sometimes it didn't go away at night. Sometimes it didn't go away on the weekends. And there were a lot of times where I was looking forward to next Wednesday afternoon when Dr. Ramirez was going to be in charge for 4 hours. And it gave me hope. In doctoring and parenting, hope is really something that you need. I also like for parents to go out one night a week so you don't call each other ma and pa. And then that happens pretty quickly. So there again, I have a lot of parents that say, oh, but I'm so worried that I'll miss my child. And I would tell them, I want you to miss your child. It is very healthy to miss your child. What's less healthy is to be home all the time with your child, never getting away from them and not missing them. So go out one night a week and quit calling each other ma and pa. As far as the next suggestion, not everyone's going to take this, but I feel like once a baby has been on the breast for 2 weeks, they are hooked on the breast. I'm not sure I can ever remember a child that's been taking the breast for 2 weeks that's given it up for a bottle. So at 2 weeks, I'd like for moms to start giving their baby 1 bottle a day. If you wait too long, you wait till a couple months old, they will not take the bottle. They say, I'm just going to take mom's breast, and it gets to be a problem. Now, I didn't do this for the first 5 years. I had read all the scary books and heard all the stories that if you give them a bottle, it'll sabotage, your breastfeeding. And so I didn't do it the first 5 years. But during those 5 years, I had a lot of situations come up where we had to give a bottle a day for one reason or another. And I noticed that those breastfeeding moms breastfed for a longer duration of months than the moms that didn't give a bottle a day. So it turned out that being able to have a little bit of freedom and occasionally sleep 6 hours in a row or occasionally go see a movie and see how the movie ended, it turns out that that was pretty important to those moms, and it made it where breastfeeding wasn't as much of a restrictive job. And the moms that were quitting earlier were quitting because the breastfeeding, they just felt so confined that they couldn't do anything else. So if it turns out you get a little better sleep and you're a little happier mom, I think that happy moms are a good thing for babies. Now, I will tell you still that not all of my moms follow this advice. I will tell you that 99% of my third-time moms, they all do this. So I find that what third-time moms do is pretty useful information. As a little bit of a side note, some of my moms love to pump and some don't love to pump. I don't think it matters that much what this 1 bottle a day is, whether it's express breast milk or maybe a protein hydrolysate formula. I find that I could compare it to if you exercise 9 out of 10 days, I don't think it even matters what you do on the 10th day. And likewise, if you're giving breast milk all day and you're giving 1 bottle a day, I don't think that really matters that much. So I think if you'll do that, it'll make your life a little happier, and that's good for your baby. In terms of your child's development, there's not a ton going on right here at first. They will look at the edge of your head, which worries some parents. I see parents trying to move around so that their baby will look them in the eyes as if that's important. But the way the baby sees, they see the most contrast where the edge of your head hits the wall. And so they will tend to want to look at the edge of your face or the edge of your head. And that's not a bad thing. That's just totally normal for children. They should be able to hold their head up briefly when you kind of hold them on their shoulder, but they're not going to be able to do it for a long time. They will startle sometimes if there's a loud noise, but keep in mind where they used to live was a pretty noisy place, and so they will ignore 90% of noises. If they startle for noise occasionally, that's good enough. It's not like you just hear, some of the time. It's kind of fun sometimes if you press your finger on the palm of their hands or on the sole of their feet, they will curl their little hands in or they'll curl their toes up, and that's kind of fun to see. It's just a normal reflex. So that's what they'll be doing developmentally. The other issue which has become prominent since babies have been sleeping on their back is we now have a lot of trouble with babies getting one portion of their skull sort of flattened by the position they stay in. And this is all just from the position they're in. It's not anything wrong with their brain. Primarily, it's the position they stay in while they sleep at night, and babies like to sleep with their face turned toward the open part of the room. So as parents, we're creatures of habit. If we always put our baby down with their head at the left end of the bed, they will turn their head to the right to look into the room and spend all night on this back right corner of their skull, and then that portion of their skull will be flattened. The way to avoid this is try to break our routine and let's put their head at opposite ends of the bed each night. So they'll turn their head opposite ways to look toward the open part of the room, and their head will be rounder. Likewise, if during the daytime you can let them spend as much time as possible on their tummies, babies that spend time on their tummies have rounder heads. And babies that have rounder heads, their grandmothers stay off my case. So I think that'll be a good thing for you to consider working on a little bit. In terms of bathing your baby, most parents will bathe their child probably every other day, trying to use as little soap as you possibly can. But that's not a hard and fast rule. Some will do it more, some will do it less. I would say any day that your baby poops all over themselves, that's probably a good day to move up bath day. So that'll be fine. While we're talking about pooping, I should mention that a lot of times when babies poop, their face will get red and their tummy gets hard and they'll pull their little knees up and they'll be straining and unhappy. And it looks like it's going to be a rock hard constipated stool that comes out. And then they'll pass the stool and it'll just be yellow mush. Keep in mind that your baby wasn't stooling for the last 9 months when they were inside you. And so they didn't get to practice that at all. And so anything that they're not very good at, they cry. So anyhow, I've had children that will cry for 15 minutes every time they pass the stool and for the first few months. And that's totally normal. So don't worry about that. That will sort of work itself out over the next few months. So those are the main things thus far. Looking forward to the next 2 months. The main thing that's a little tricky is that each week they tend to change their habits. So just when you think you've got them figured out, they'll change their habits for the next week. And that's a little anxiety provoking and just makes it a little tougher over the next month and a half. The good news is if you're having a bad week, next week is very likely to be different. The bad news, if you're having a good week, it's a little tough sometimes to have 2 good weeks in a row. So keep that in mind. Also keep in mind that it is totally fine to occasionally break a rule. I have slept with my babies on my chest because that was the only place they would sleep. And I had a really big day the next day. And that's what you had to do. You have to do what you have to do to survive. So if you have to break a rule occasionally, that's okay. I'd like for you to avoid making bad habits. Any bad habit that you make is going to take a painful week to get rid of it. So you want to have as few bad habits to break as possible. All right, so you've been through the tough 2 weeks. For the next 6 weeks, I want us to get whatever help you can get, any favors that people owe you. If you have some extra money, don't save it for college. Maybe use it for a night nurse. The next 6 weeks you've made it through the toughest 2 weeks, but the next 6 weeks take a lot out of you. So get all the help that you can. And then the next time I see you will be at 2 months. And at 2 months, things will get a lot easier. So hang in there and we'll talk to you in 2 months.